Requirement number 1, agreement. In the previous video we identified 3 essential elements of a contract: agreement, intention, and consideration. In this video we will focus upon the first requirement, agreement. What is an agreement? All of us make agreements every single day, but how do we define agreement? For our purposes we will define agreement as a meeting of minds. An agreement exists when 2 or more people share understanding and intention. How do we know that 2 or more people have reached an agreement? Many agreements are preceded by a period of negotiations, and sometimes the existence of a finalized agreement can be deduced from the conduct of the parties. For example, if a new employee and an employer have been negotiating a new employment contract, we can deduce from the fact that the employee has started working and the employer has started paying them that an employment contract has been finalized, that agreement has been reached. At other times, the existence of a finalized agreement is less clear. One party may insist that the negotiations are continuing, while the other party insists that an agreement has been reached. In such situations, we have recourse to the assumption that an agreement will exist if one person has made an offer and the other person has accepted the offer. So for the remainder of this video we will focus upon the meaning of offer and acceptance. Let's begin with offer. A person makes an offer when they express a willingness to immediately enter into a contract with the offeree, the person to whom the offer is directed. If I say to you, "Do you want to purchase my car for $10,000?" I am expressing a willingness to immediately enter into a contract with you as soon as you accept my offer. An offer can be made to one person. So in the previous example, I have made an offer to you as an individual. I can make an offer to many people, so I might say to a group of people, "Does anyone want to buy my car for $10,000? And I will have an agreement with the first person who accepts my offer. And I can even make an offer to the world at large. I might, for example, put a sign up near my home saying that I will pay a $50 reward to anyone who finds my lost cat. I am offering to pay the reward to anyone in the world who locates my lost cat and comes forward to claim the reward." In Carlyle and Carbolic Smokeball Company, the court explained that when the Carbolic Smokeball Company posted the advertisement stating that the company would pay a £100 reward to anybody who used their product according to the instructions and nevertheless caught the flu, was making a legal offer, an offer to pay the reward to anyone who satisfied the requirements. An offer can be accepted by the offeree. So for example, if I offer to sell you my car for $10,000, you can accept my offer by saying that yes, you will purchase my car for $10,000, in which case we have an agreement. Or you can reject my offer. You can tell me that no, you do not want to purchase my car for $10,000, in which case my offer no longer exists. Your rejection of my offer brings my offer to an end. That means that you cannot at a later date come back to me and say, "I've changed my mind, I would now like to accept your offer." You can't do that. As soon as you rejected my offer, the offer ceased to exist. You can of course come back to me at a later date and offer to buy my car for $10,000, but then we will not have an agreement until I accept your offer to purchase the car. And the person who made the offer can revoke their offer. As long as the offer has not yet been accepted, the offeror is entitled to change their mind. If I say to you, "Would you like to buy my car for $10,000? And while you are thinking about it, I say, "No, I've changed my mind, I don't want to sell my car anymore," that is fine. As long as my offer has not yet been accepted, I am entitled to revoke my offer, even if I have promised to keep the offer open for a particular period. If I say to you, "Would you like to buy my car for $10,000? and you ask for a couple of hours to think about it, even if I promise to give you a couple of hours to think about it, I am still entitled to change my mind and sell the car to someone else within those 2 hours, unless the offeree has paid for the offeror's promise to keep the offer open, for example by paying a deposit. So if I promise to keep my offer open for a couple of hours and you in return pay a small deposit, you have provided consideration for my promise to keep the offer open, and we'll be looking at the meaning of consideration in a later video. In those circumstances, I am obliged to keep my promise to keep the offer open. And if you accept my offer within that period, we have an agreement. An important point to note is that if a business uses the word offer in its advertising, it does not necessarily constitute a legal offer. For example, if you see a sign in the supermarket that says special offer, cans of soft drink 50 cents only, that display is not a legal offer, because if it was, as soon as you picked up the can, you would be accepting the offer and you would have an agreement and a contract with the store owner, in which case you would not be able to change your mind and put the soft drink back on the shelf. When you purchase something in a shop, it is not the shop that is offering to sell the product to you. The offer does not take place until you take the product up to the checkout and you offer to purchase the product, and then it is up to the store owner whether or not to accept your offer. Instead, most advertising and most displays is what is called an invitation to treat. It is an invitation to members of the public to come forward and make an offer to purchase the product. What is an acceptance? An acceptance takes place when the offeree indicates by words or by action that they are immediately willing to enter into a legally enforceable contract with the offeror on the terms offered. In other words, an acceptance is a yes to the offer. Only the offeree can accept the offer, and acceptance must be unqualified, unless otherwise it is a counteroffer. So for example, if I say to you, would you like to buy my car for $10,000? And your response is, yes, I would like to buy your car, but I'm only prepared to pay $9,000. You have not accepted my offer, because acceptance must be unqualified. What you have done is you have made a counteroffer, and we do not have an agreement until I accept your counteroffer. Acceptance must be communicated to the offeror. In other words, you have to actually tell me that you accept my offer. If we are negotiating face-to-face, that is usually not a problem, but if we are negotiating at a distance, perhaps by telephone or by email, then this becomes an important element of an agreement. It has to be shown that the offeree has actually communicated their acceptance back to the offeror. If the email or the fax was sent to the wrong address, then there will not be an agreement. There are circumstances where the offeror can waive the requirement that acceptance be communicated. A good example is the reward contract. So the example earlier where I offered to pay $50 reward to anyone who finds my lost dog. Clearly anybody who sees that sign and decides that they will come and claim the reward if they find the dog does not have to actually communicate their acceptance back to me. I don't expect them to call me on the phone and tell me that they will be claiming the reward if they find the dog. I simply expect them to contact me if they find my dog and want to claim the reward. So in reward contracts, it is not necessary that acceptance of the offer be communicated. This is a point that was made by the court in Carlisle and Carbolic Smokeball Company. As we saw earlier, it was the Carbolic Smokeball Company that made the offer. It offered to pay the reward to anybody who caught the flu after using their product. Mrs. Carlisle accepted that offer, but she did not have to communicate her acceptance back to the Carbolic Smokeball Company at the time. She only had to satisfy the requirements and then claim her reward, which is what she did. So the court concluded in Carlisle and the Carbolic Smokeball Company that an agreement did exist between Mrs. Carlisle and the Carbolic Smokeball Company. In later videos we will look at whether the other two ingredients of a contract were satisfied in that case.